It should be on your screen.
Yeah.
Cindy, is it on your
Cindy, it
screen?
should be on, push your.
It's okay, I've seen it before,
Oh, I'm
because this
sorry.
is civic ready, right?
Yes.
Jack, this is part of civic ready, right?
It is.
Yeah, so I
Or
saw it
civic
during
ready.
the training, so I know what it looks like.
What I'm saying is I can expand it. There's 39 more things I can add on.
Yeah, sorry, I just can't.
Ask me that, you said that's just great. It's
I
like, well,
can't turn around and look up. Sorry.
that's very good.
Yeah, okay, moving on. So let's go to the map now, right? Because we did all the.
So you leave an M and S in?
Yes.
Can I ask a question before you look at the map? As a general rule, Dan, does it matter to, I guess everybody, does it matter to people who are looking to stand up like retail establishments of some sort? Does it factor into their decision of where they're going to place stuff based on the way something is zoned? Meaning, would they say, okay, well, I'm going to go look in Cecil because I know that they have, you know, attractively zoned property that would work for me? Or is it kind of, doesn't really matter that much? They're gonna, if they want to put something in a certain area, they'll go through all the steps to get, you know, whatever exceptions or rezoning requests and all that type of stuff. Does it matter to these entities that would bring potentially commercial establishments to the township? Generally,
To have commercial zoning
already in place.
already in place, for sure. I mean, rezoning is not a not-for-sure process. I mean, that's, you know,
Right.
it's legislative, it can't be appealed,
I've seen it.
so you really can't, you know.
Okay, all right, I just wanted to make sure. I didn't really understand how much that weighs into.
But to some extent, do you not agree that it needs to be well-placed commercial zoning? You can't like
Sure,
willy-nilly,
sure.
like just because we put commercial zone in McDonald's doesn't mean Giant Eagle's gonna come put a grocery store there.
Transportation is important, other infrastructure, sewers, water, density of population, you know, proximity within a certain radius to so many people, all those things play into the line.
So- Just from my experience being on the comprehensive plan committee, I'm not sure we took all those things into account when we chose where we were gonna place commercial. Are there other ways that we could, you know, like, for example, say, okay, somebody who does commercial, you know, deals with commercial real estate more often would look at this map and say, oh, well, if you would have put commercial here or here or here, it would be more attractive. Versus us as random lay people going on the map and saying, well, that looks like it's close to where the exit for the turnpike's gonna be, maybe that's good. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
So
I feel.
like Tom's point there, like there's commercial laid out currently like along here. So
Yeah.
it looks great because it's right along this path right here, except when we were talking about it before the meeting, it's actually a cliff.
Right,
You
right.
can't actually develop.
That's the other thing. I don't think that the people, at least in my opinion, this is my opinion, and I'll say I'm speaking for myself and maybe other people, that we might not be as familiar with the topology and the lay of the land when we're looking at these maps to understand, well, wait, you just picked commercial there, well, there's no way that you're gonna put something commercial there. Because like, just like you said, if you come to the end of East Bishop in 50, like, you're looking straight up at this big cliff, but well, nobody's gonna put anything there, because there would be, you know, tremendous amount of work that would need to go into making it usable. So I guess what my question is, are there ways to understand what pieces of property might be attractive? If the goal is to get, and I'm saying this is, I don't even know if this is a goal, but if the goal is to get more commercial development in Cecil Township, how do we decide if and where would be best to zone commercially in the township?
Here, there's a lot of planning that goes into that, and it doesn't have to be necessarily from us in particular. I mean, from seminars, there's experts, I mean, we have our own professionals, but generally, just from not only experience, but going to seminars and things like that, you learn what the trends are, where people want to go, and what service we have to give them. And if there's a village, they need, we know, I mean, just good planning, they need some services around them. And it's just.
So, yeah, so I guess my point, that's a good point, I guess, and maybe people wouldn't expect me to say this, because I did participate on the committee. I think that we need to do more to apply from seminars, outside experts, to say, not from the position of, we're random citizens and we're picking a place on the map, but where, if we want commercial development, where should we be putting it?
Well, that is our
from
job, though,
somebody.
to zone properties in our expertise, or request to know where to put it.
Right.
I mean, we know along in the villages, we need areas for service for them, and we just have to find areas, wait, back up. Sewers are a big thing, as part of infrastructure, and we can't pick an area that looks like a village needs it if there's no potential for getting like sewage there. Sewage
Yeah.
plants, they're normally gravity flow systems, so you gotta look upstream from plants. So if there's areas that are open, that like interchange, and I'll be bringing it up shortly on Ricing Road, that, we have a sewer line, that's treatment plant right down there. That property, with gravity flow naturally to our treatment plant, there's gonna be a new interchange. It's just from planning that we learned that that's where the businesses wanna go. They want easy access to, transportation and, infrastructure,
Yeah.
which is water and sewer. So that's what we have to look at right off the bat.
You gotta keep in mind too, this map doesn't change until somebody comes request to change it.
I totally get that. But that is kind of like, here's what we would like, right? It's not what is, it's what potentially we would want it to be, right? There's all the, no rezoning is being suggested. I mean, it's being suggested, but not done, right? Saying this is how we would like it to look in the future.
That's
I
this
totally
map.
get that.
That's
Yes.
this map.
I totally get that. And I know, Dan, we brought up the storm, the sewer topic, and we talked about that a little bit, which backs me up to the section 4, which I don't think we have a priority about, because it seems like that always comes up, the inability for the sewer system to, have the adequate capacity for all the different areas of township. I would think that if that's something generally that comes up over and over again, maybe that's something that should be in section 4, right? To some extent, because it is in the table, but it's not detailed at any level. So that's one thing. And then, like you said, I guess my whole point is, for the future land use map, I think it needs more work. I don't feel like, at least I felt that where we were placing on, as it stands right there, commercial areas, that we knew for sure that that was even something anyone was going to want. You know what I mean?
So you were just going based on the limited knowledge you had at the
Correct.
time, and now looking back, you're saying that it needs some extra.
Right, but
Law,
I think we did try to provide some guidance related to the new transportation. So for instance, the area
Yes.
that's over along Rising Road was commercial, very close to the interchange. There's a big swath of commercial that's added there. We know that can be sewer. And then the idea was to have the transition between the commercial to the residential, to have mixed use in between. So that mixed use might be a combination of lower density commercial activities, more village type activities, and residential mixed together before you get into the purely residential area.
Yeah.
So I think that was thought out a little bit more. Of course, on the other side of town, we have 79 corridor, we have all the property associated with Pool Valley. That big green area is the National Cemetery, so that's not going to be developed. There's some sewer capacity in this area, or there will be at some point in time. So I think that's again why the mixed use was thought of in that area.
Do you think realistically, I'm not opposed to it, but do you think realistically that there's the potential for commercial development over by Rising?
I mean, there's a big swath along how Morganza Road was realigned adjacent to 79. So you do have that big section between.
I'm talking about over by Rising.
Oh, Rising?
Yeah.
Sure. I mean, but again, 10 years down the road, I mean, we don't know what that's going to be, but somebody could come in and look at, there's some big chunks of ground up there that could be commercial and have, I mean, distribution centers, immediate to transportation. or drive a corridor like up around Harrisburg, like if you go anywhere around
But to me,
Carlisle and that
that's not
area.
what the kind of commercial, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, when you guys were working on the plan, like, that's great because it's tax revenue.
It's
for the
economic
township.
development, right?
But it's not like the grocery store
Sure.
or what people are thinking of when you say commercial development.
Yeah, on the grocery store, I mean, that's, and I'll just.
I'm just saying that as an example. Like,
No, it's a great example, because, like, for instance, I represent South Park.
Yeah,
South Park's crying for a grocery store, they want a grocery store in South Park. But there's a developer that there has developed this nice plan, put in multifamily residential, single-family residential. He says, I'm begging grocery stores to come here. And they want a certain density and density of population till they will come in to a center. So it's that yin and yang between you have to grow more to get the service, you know what I mean?
I totally understand. I think my point is, I think we have to be careful when maybe we weren't totally clear. I don't think I totally understood it. When you're saying commercial and you're like, oh, that'd be great, like that's right off the turnpike. When you're saying to the average resident,
Right.
there's potential for commercial development there, they're not thinking distribution center off the turnpike. Am I wrong?
And is a distribution center considered commercial and not industrial?
That's industrial.
Yeah, it's probably more industrial.
So in that case, then, yeah, you know what I mean? Like, there's a,
So to me, then that's not what that's planned for. To me, that I'm thinking like sheets or, I don't know, I can think of anything, like a little strip mall.
I mean, in my mind, that's exactly what I was thinking to me, was like, oh, if I'm on the turnpike and there's an exit there, wouldn't it be great if we could put a gas station there and then people would come to Cecil and spend money in the township, da, 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 da. I mean, that's what I was thinking. If it's like a distribution center kind of.
That was probably a bad example, I'm sorry.
No, that's
You
okay.
should be.
I've got a distribution center on the mind, I'm
Yeah.
involved in the Churchill thing,
You're fine, but like,
that's plenty.
but I'm asking, so like, if we're planning this, Dan,
I'm
so
sorry.
if we're planning this though, and we're putting, because we need commercial in the township in
Sure.
order to bolster our tax base, if we're planning for commercial off Rising Road, I think my question to you, to the other supervisors in the comprehensive plan committee is that a reality? Can that actually happen there? Or did we just plop commercial down on Rising Road and nothing actually is gonna come?
Well, as Tom talked about it as the components, it can be sewer, it's got transportation, and generally the topography there, as I know, is reasonable to be developed, so I mean,
See, businesses come in, they'll look to the municipality, and say you want to move into McCandless. You look around, what do they have that would work for me? I need some commercial zones, so they'll look around, first thing they look at is their zoning map. They'll see if there's something that's going to work for them. So we have to have the zones available, and that's what, if they're going to come because we have the zone available. If they see all this right here, they're not even going to look at this part of the township. They're going to try to look somewhere where they see
I'm not
some.
opposed to the change. I think my point is currently in our current zoning map, have commercial in an area that commercial isn't gonna be developed. So I don't wanna make that same mistake twice.
Well, then we should take that part out. But you need to steer the business where you want it to go. I mean, that's our job, is to steer businesses to an area where we think that it's far enough away from the impacts on the residential areas, and yet have the things they want, like sewers and infrastructure.
I'm just saying, I understand that, and I agree with that. I'm just saying, like, so if we're talking specifically about that mixed-use commercial area, the reality that a commercial development is gonna go there is high, yes? or no?
Yes. I mean, if there's going to be any more commercial development, don't go there.
I mean, I hope so.
And you want to keep the residential plans out of these areas. You don't want to see residential plans developing anymore along like our new 79 interchange.
Right.
I mean, we've got enough open area, all this area, all over here and all over here for residential. We're only, 28% developed now, 29? Whatever it is, we got a lot open up for residential. We need to, basically it's protected, right, Dan? Our new 79 interchange and this area here, you've got to protect it from actually residential developments. Because once a developer comes in, or a property owner sells to him as residential, it's a use by right. We can't say, oh, wait, we don't want to see that residential.
I understand that. I'm just saying, like, I don't want you, like, in our current zoning map, part of the reason that there hasn't been good commercial development is we don't have good commercial zones. I don't want that to happen again a second time. So I'm just asking and trying to make sure that we still don't have a ton of commercial on here, and you're saying you think we should eliminate it along here,